Welcome to episode 2 of my brand new podcast, My Messy Home and Me. I am me, Leanne, and this episode is called Just Tidy As You Go. It's that easy, apparently. If only I had £1 for every time someone had said that to me. And I know that majority of people that say that, whether they're commenting on my videos or whether it's just people I have conversations with and I say that I struggle with housework and stuff, it's always the first thing they say. And I know it's coming from a great place, but it drives me insane because I know that and I just wish I could do it. And people that are neurotypical will just say, well, you just do it. It's not hard. It's so easy. And you guys make it look so easy. If you're neurotypical, you do make it look easy. And I'm not saying it's easy for everyone, even if you are neurotypical. But as much as I wish I could tidy as I go, I just can't. And I even remember from was I 13, 14-ish. And I was staying, I had a sleepover at my best friend's house, Emily. This is you I'm talking about. We'd had a sleepover and you had made bacon in the microwave, first and foremost. Like, who even does that? But anyway, that's not part of this story. She'd made the bacon in the microwave and there was crumbs all over the side. Well, not all over, but there's crumbs. If I'd have made it, there'd have been crumbs all over the side. But what I remember is she automatically got a cloth and wiped up the sides after she'd made breakfast. And to me, that proves that even at that age, that was like an out-of-body experience. That was an alien concept for me. Because I just thought, she's just done it. And how I acknowledged at the time that she'd so effortlessly got the cloth, wiped it, rinsed the cloth. And I remember thinking, why can't I just do that? As like a young teenager. So I wish I could tidy as I go. I wish I could be like Emily. But I can't. And, it's just hard. It's so hard. And the way I try and describe it is, I hope this analogy makes sense, driving. So I'll jump in the car. I'm going to wherever. I'm in the car before I know it. I've arrived where I wanted to be without any thought. No brain power was needed for that because it's autopilot. You just do it. But imagine if you had to drive somewhere and this was what your brain did. I'm in the car. You've got the key. Turn the engine on. Right. Clutch down. Gear. Oh, hang on. I've missed a step. Seatbelt. Seatbelt on. Check your mirrors. Indicate maybe. Right. Then clutch down. Into first. Lift off the clutch and on the gas. Get your bike. Right. I'm going. I'm driving. Oh, where am I going? What's that? Is that a green light or is it a red? Is that changing? Right. Slow down. What's that car doing over there? Right. Into second gear. If every little step you did in that drive, you was really conscious of in your brain, it would be exhausting. It wouldn't be an easy task. You'd be better off getting the bus. But that's what it's like for me. If I'm trying to tidy as I go, that's what I have to. And genuinely, like, my son and my mum will vouch for me here. If I'm on it, and this is what I'm like, I'm on it now, it's January, so I'm going to be tidy this year, obviously. So I will have to talk out loud of what I'm doing for me to make sure I do it. So if I've made us a sandwich, I'm like, right, finish with that. Lid on the butter. It's quite funny that I've said that because tonight we had tea. Finley, bless him, made us tea. We just had jacket potatoes and cheese and beans. Amazing. And I went into the kitchen afterwards and the lid was off the butter. I was instantly raged inwardly. I didn't rage at Finley, but I was like, oh my God, the lid's off the butter. But I leave the lid off the butter all the time. Like, it's just what I do. But anyway, that was a side note tangent there. But, right, I've made my sandwich. Instinctively, what I would do, without any thought, my brain, me, would just make the sandwich, go and eat it. And then I'd just leave whatever in the kitchen and come back to it at a later date. I walk back in the kitchen and be like, oh, I've left this out. Like, I just forget. that is what it is. That's what I have to do. If I'm trying to make sure I'm good and I'm trying to make sure I tidy as I go, I'm like, right, put the lid on the butter, put the butter in the fridge, put the knife in the dishwasher, right, wrap the cheese up where, and then I'll stumble across things, so I won't be able to find the foil or the sandwich bags because everything's chaos everywhere. And it's just a very long, exhausting, tedious process. So yes, tidying as I go would absolutely be the easiest thing, and it completely makes sense. I'm not disputing that, but doing it isn't as easy as people may say. You know, there is such a thing, it's real, called executive dysfunction, and that is what lots of people who are neurodivergent struggle with. Just doing the thing. You can even look it up on the NHS website. For those who are watching on videos, I might put the give me the words, the definition. I will put the definition on here for you. It is a thing. It's not something that people just make up to just say, I can't be bothered to do it. Oh, it's me, executive dysfunction. It is a thing, and that is why a lot of people like me struggle with day-to-day tasks. So I don't give up. I could just go, well, forget it. I'll just live in mess forever. And I'm not, at no point, I don't want anyone to think I'm advocating for living in a messy house, because I'm not, and it stresses me out. And that's ironic, because if it's stressing me out, just do something about it and tidy it. But I am constantly, believe it or not, a big chunk of my time is tidying up, but it never looks any different. A lot of that is the clutter. And like I say, this year I am really, really going to go hard on it and just try and chuck everything out, I think. We'll be sat in here and it'll be echoey next time. But I do try. I really do. And I've tried, and then sometimes I'll smash it out for like a week. And I'm like, oh my God, I've done this for a week. Check me out, I'm being a grown-up. And then it'll go for 2 weeks. And I think I've done it for a few months at a time. I think that was when it was just me and Finley, though, mind. I didn't have another one. And that's part of it. I'll touch on that in another episode. But the more, you know, especially in women, we mask so well that we can, you know, I've kind of learned to deal with me and my life and the admin that comes with me. And then you'll add a kid into it and you're like, whoo, hang on a minute. I've got to try and deal with their stuff on top of my stuff, and I'm barely getting on top of my stuff. And then I added another one to it, and it just gets harder and harder, and these plates get harder and harder to spin, which is general for everybody, whether you're neurotypical or neurodiverse. Obviously, another child is another commitment and another but for someone with ADHD or autism or, you know, any of these, it can just be so much more difficult. But I've proven I can do it, so I will keep trying. And I always think, I've done it for a week, it's better than nothing. And is it 90 days to build a habit, I believe? So I guess I think I would have got to that at one point, but sadly it didn't stick. But I've tried everything, and I feel like sometimes I think when people chat with me about it, I think they might think I'm just being defeatist and awkward and difficult. And I'm like, no, I've done that, or I've tried that doesn't work. But because if the advice is coming from someone who is neurotypical, it's probably not going to work for us. And that's what I think a lot of the understanding for me has been like, well, actually, it's all right if that doesn't work for me, because my brain isn't the same. I might have to do it a bit differently. And the way I have come up to try and help me with this is with my 10-minute tidies. So what I've decided to do, because I used to think, especially on the weekends, like if I didn't have the kids, they'd be at the dad's, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to have to sort the house. Got to get the house done, it's horrendous. And I'd go in one room and just like want to scream. Genuinely, I'd walk in it and I'd be like, I just can't, I don't even know where to start, this is ridiculous, I can't. And I would then walk away, and I just wouldn't do anything, but I'd sit on the sofa and be on my phone, all the while hating myself for not doing the tidying because I know it needs to get done. But I'm just stuck in this ADHD paralysis of like, I just can't. I can't at all do it. You can watch, once you've done that 10 minutes, you can watch an episode of a program that you're really into. You can read a book. You can make yourself a coffee. Here's one I made earlier. Have a coffee, a cheeky biscuit, whatever it is, something little, obviously, but give yourself a reward. And I think that then you're taking off a lot of buzz things for us ADHD people. So I do try. It's not that I don't, but it doesn't always stick. But I have tried everything. Like I said, I don't want people to think I'm being like I don't care or I'm ungrateful for any suggestions and offers you give me. But I have probably tried it all. Like the one touch, I thought that was a genius idea. Touch things once, so if you take your coat off, you don't just put it down, you put it away. And I was like, that is fantastic, and I ran with that for a while. And I even got myself a little jingle. I made myself a song. One touch is all you need to keep the mess away, keep chaos at bay. One touch is all you need. And that worked great for a little bit of time until that novelty obviously wore off. And my neighbours were probably quite glad when that phase went. But I do try any little system, any little hack. I'm like, yeah, I'll try it, this will work. And it's just the consistency isn't there. I like to say I'm consistently inconsistent because that is about the only thing I'm consistent at. And it is difficult, but I am trying, and that is the point, and that is the takeaway. We just can do what we can do, and this is what I'm doing to try and help my situation. So I'm trying, basically. And even when I'm on a good streak with keeping on top of it, I always find it's the smallest things that can just undo it all. Does anyone else find that? Like, it can be something as small as you're on your period, or you could have got the kids being sick, or you're not feeling too well, or you've got a busy week and you've been out a lot more. Just anything that stops your routine, I can kiss it goodbye. And I'll always think, I'll start again on Monday. And I do love a reset Monday, and I'm going to bring them back for January as well. That's another episode. My reset Mondays, they're golden. I love them, but that's another day. So I am on my own with 2 kids. They're not babies though, they're 13 and 5. And I do get a lot of comments saying, you should be getting your kids to pick up their toys, you should be getting your kids. And yes, I should. But I forget. And I know that probably sounds completely ridiculous. I know it does. Hit the microphone. I know it does, but I do. I don't see the mess. I see the chaos at the end of the mess. I don't see the build-up, really. So, obviously, Finley doesn't play with toys anymore. In fact, he never really did, really, for his 7th birthday. Was it his 6th birthday? Do you know what he asked for? A laminator. He asked for a laminator. That's my boy. So, he's not really, I don't need to worry about him with toys, but he does love theatre and DJing. So often that'll come out in the room. I mean, his DJ equipment's still there from New Year's Eve. But Harper is there with her toys and all her Barbies and all the rest of it. She's a proper, imaginary play kid. And I don't ever want to quash that in them. But I'm not good at making them tidy it away because I'm not good at making myself tidy it away. So I forget. And again, when I'm on it, this comes back to being when I'm hyper-focused on the house being tidy, I can say, put your toys away, get them put away, put that back. They're going to go in the bin if you don't put them back. But again, that takes a lot of mental effort, and I have to be very aware and very hyper-focused on that job. Otherwise, it just turns to chaos. And I need a better strategy. I mean, the kids probably love it because I even forget if I've given them a punishment, what I've given. Like, oh, you're banned from your iPad now. Oh no, banned from my iPad. An hour later, they're sat on their iPad and I've completely forgotten. I've told them they couldn't have it anymore. And thankfully now, one of them, because they like to snitch on each other, will say, oh, you said she couldn't have that. I'm like, yes, I did. Thank you. Like, I need sort of like a nanny cam that just talks to me to tell me what I've punished my kids with. So that doesn't help, obviously. And I do believe my son, he is ADHD. He is so much like me. Like, he's just a carbon copy, really, in so many ways. My daughter, I think she's all right so far. She will automatically take her shoes off when she comes in. She's not great at like hanging a coat, but she probably can't reach. She's not perfectly tidy, but she will take her plate back in the kitchen and stuff like that. Like, so I don't think she's gonna have it. I think she might get away with it. But it is difficult. It really, really is. So for me to try and get past the chaos and see the build up, because like I say, I don't see it. It's just there. I'll walk into a room that I've tidied and I'm like, yeah, oh wow, this looks amazing. I mean, I've cried before. I have really tidied and decluttered the living room, not all that long ago actually. And I walked back in it and I cried like I was on, do you remember Changing Rooms back in the day? Like, I literally cried just because I tidied it. It wasn't even redecorated. It wasn't being made over. It was just tidied and I'm like, and it brings me that much happiness. And I always say to myself in those moments, remember this moment, remember this feeling, so it makes sure you keep up with it. Guess what? I don't, clearly, because I don't keep up with it. And then so I've walked into the room, lovely and clean and tidy. I've got emotional over it, fantastic. And then I feel like this is how it feels in my head. I walk out the room, or I go out for the day, I come back in, and it is just like the room is just combusted into chaos and mess. And I'll be like, oh my God, what has gone on here? Like, what on earth? But I didn't see it when it was half as bad. I didn't see it when it was just a few things out of place. I only saw it when the room had thrown up on itself. So because of all this, I decided there has to be a way. Because I've got all the different cleaning routines and techniques that you can see and that you can follow along. And like I said, they're great for a little bit, but not for long term. They don't work for my brain. So I've devised, well, it's not really like cunning or like earth-shattering what I do, but I've devised 10-minute tidies that because they help me. Because am I going to tidy as I go? Probably not. So once I've made dinner, there's going to be a mess to clear up. Once the kids have come back from school, done their homework and whatever else, there's going to be a mess to clear up because we're probably not going to tidy as we go. So 10-minute tidies, it's as simple as setting your device, is what I do, or your phone or whatever. Just get a timer going for 10 minutes, because instead of walking into a room, like on days where I've said, this is it, I am going to sort out the living room today, and I'll walk in and almost like hyperventilate at the state of it and just think I cannot do that, and I walk back out. Instead, I'm just telling myself it's 10 minutes. It's just 10 minutes, because otherwise I would just freak and the ADHD paralysis would set in, and I just wouldn't get anything done. So I set my timer for 10 minutes. I get a playlist going, a really upbeat playlist that you love, whether it's one that you sing along to, whether it's one that you do some fantastically awful dance moves to, because that's what I like to do. Get that on and just go like the clappers. And you will genuinely be so amazed at what you can achieve. Don't pick your phone up. Don't do that, because you'll get distracted. It's like literally you are hyper focusing just for 10 minutes on the room that you're cleaning or tidying. And then what am I going to say? But what I would do actually with your phone is take a before photo, because initially when you start it, you kind of, if you're looking at a big mess, which if you're looking at my house it is going to be a big mess, then you're going to think, what is 10 minutes going to do? There is no point. Because we get defeatist, let's be honest. Well, there's no point. Whoa, it won't make a difference. It will. Take your before and after photos. Take your before photo, set your timer, crack on, go as fast as you can, do the biggest things first. So if you've got like a big empty box, because you've had a new TV or whatever in the middle of the living room, get that out. That's going to make a really big difference really quickly. So do the biggest things first. And then easy things like rubbish. Is there any rubbish in there? Because you know that belongs straight in the bin. So do the easy things first. Get the rubbish out of there. Get bags. Like, so it was just me and my 2 kids. A lot of the stuff that should be in our bedroom ends up downstairs. Get a bag or a basket for everybody. Chuck everyone's stuff in their own basket. Then they can take it away and put it away in their own room. So it is that bit of team effort. But honestly, if you struggle, 10-minute tidies are for the win. Because as well, you've got your 10 minutes, it's got you going anyway. So that's fantastic. And often you've got that motivation then, you're in the zone. You're like, well, I could stop now because my timer's finished. But actually, I could just fold that bit of washing on there and then that would make that look loads better. So it sometimes gives you the motivation to carry on, which is fantastic. And it also gives you that dopamine boost because it's a challenge, isn't it? Can you get it done before the 10 minutes is over? And if you do it regularly, then you will find that you can pretty much get a room done in the 10 minutes. And that's the achievement. So 10-minute tidies. Obviously, your timer is very important. Take your before and after photos. Know what treat you're going to give yourself after you've done it, and have fun. Just get dancing. Some of my videos, I don't know what I was listening to, but I'm having fun. So that's my 2 pence worth on the whole messy house thing. Have I nailed it? No. Is my house neat and tidy? No. But I know what I can achieve in 10 minutes. And I know if I've got someone coming round, well, I'll have to do a couple of 10 minutes. And if I got the end, I'll do 20 minutes, do half an hour. Sometimes I do. But even if you split that, and I'll do 10 minutes now, then I'll go and make a cup of tea, then I'll do another 10 minutes. You know, you've got to do what works for you, but give this a try if you do struggle, because it really has made a big difference to me. And I do try and get the kids involved as well in the 10-minute tidies. Although when it's with the kids, what I like to try and do is do a stop, drop and tidy. Stop, drop and tidy. And we've got a little dance routine that we go to it. I'm going to bring that's just not been a thing for a while, but I'm going to bring that back. Now we're back to school and back to the new year. And we have to drop everything. I set an alarm to go off. And we just crack on as a family. So that's the 10-minute tidy in a nutshell. That's why it's not easy to tidy as you go for everyone, as much as people seem to think it is. I wish it was like a pill I could take where I could just tidy. It's like, honestly, that would be amazing. Scientists, get on that. So that is it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. All that's left now is to address the weekly win. This is something I'm going to do every week because being neurodiverse, we are very good at beating ourselves up for not doing all the things that we think we should be doing. So one small thing that you've achieved, brushing your teeth before bed, that's a win. So for me, my weekly win is taking care of my skin. I'm 40 this year. I really need to start not sleeping in my makeup and then wiping it off with a baby wipe the next day. And I've achieved that for nearly 2 weeks. So that is my weekly win. Cheers for the weekly wins, and I will see you next week. Make sure you subscribe to this and leave a comment to let me know if you're enjoying it, and see you next week.